I am Albert Einstein. A physicist, yes, but first and foremost, a seeker. All my life, people look to me for answers about time, energy, light, and gravity. But few are asked what I believed about the most ancient of questions: what happens when we die? You might expect a man of science to dismiss such a question. But the truth is, I've thought about it deeply. So if you're asking me whether I believe in life after death, I will tell you this. It depends on what you mean by life, and it depends on what you mean by death. To me, death is not an event. It is a transition, not an end, but a transformation in the arrangement of energy and matter. The body ceases to function. The thoughts, the memories, the voice, they fade. But that is only the visible side of the story. We live in a universe ruled by the conservation of energy. Nothing is lost. Nothing disappears. Everything changes form. So why would we believe that the most complex and elegant phenomenon in the known cosmos, consciousness, should vanish without a trace? I do not believe it does. When I look at a human being, I do not see flesh and bone. I see structure, pattern, vibration. I see an expression of cosmic order, formed temporarily into what we call a person. That form may dissolve, but what created it and what animates it must continue. You might ask, so do you believe in the soul? That word is often misused. If you mean an eternal, unchanging identity that floats into another realm after death, then no, I do not believe in that. But if you mean a unique configuration of energy and thought, bound for a moment to time and space, then yes, I believe every person carries such a soul. And when the body dies, I believe that soul returns to the field that birthed it. What is this field? Some might call it God. Others call it nature. To me, it is simply the fundamental unity of all things. When I studied the behavior of light, I realized it is both a wave and a particle. It is not one thing or another. It is two truths held in harmony. So too, I believe, are life and death. They are not opposites. They are partners in a rhythm far older than any human culture. The universe does not end when a star collapses. In fact, that is how it begins again. New elements, new systems, new light, all born from what appears to be destruction. The same applies to us. You must understand something. I have watched mankind strive for certainty, for absolute truths, firm borders, final definitions. But the deeper I went into the fabric of reality, the more I realized there are no edges, only curves, no final states, only transitions. So when I die, I do not believe that I will vanish. I believe I will dissolve, my body into the soil, my thoughts into the minds I've influenced, my words into the books I've left behind, and my essence, whatever that may be, back into the great pattern from which all things arise. Call it what you will. I call it the cosmic mind, not a deity who judges or controls, but a presence that remembers, a field that feels, a rhythm that includes us. I've often been asked if I believe in God. Let me say this clearly. I do not believe in a personal God, not one who punishes, who watches, who favors one people over another, but I believe in a sacred order, a harmony so perfect, so vast, that to glimpse even a fragment of it is to feel reverence. That is what I mean when I speak of God. I have seen this order in the orbit of planets, in the behavior of photons, in the equation that binds mass and energy. I have also seen it in a child's eyes, in music, in love. So do not let anyone tell you that science denies God. What science denies is the smallness of man's version of God. The real thing is far greater. Now let us speak of something more difficult. Pain. Why is there suffering? Why do we feel loss, grief, fear? If all things are part of a perfect pattern, why must it hurt? Here is what I have come to understand. Pain is not a punishment. It is a signal. It tells us that something has changed, that something we were attached to has shifted. But beneath the pain is the same energy, still present, still part of the field. When someone you love dies, their form is gone, but the pattern of their being remains, in you and others, in the world they touched. This is not spiritual metaphor. It is physics. Information is never truly lost. And if their presence can still move you, guide you, comfort you, then they are not gone.
They have simply reconfigured.
So what should we do, knowing this? We must live consciously. Do not waste time chasing control. Do not numb yourself with distraction. Be curious. Be kind. Be aware of your place in the web of life. That is where meaning arises. And above all, love without clinging. Think without fear. Create without ego. Because none of us were born to last, but all of us were born to matter. In my final years, I realized that I had misunderstood one thing. I believed reason alone could carry humanity forward. But I was wrong. Reason without compassion becomes cold. Knowledge without humility becomes dangerous. It is only when reason and wonder walk together that we touch something true. So when you ask me, what happens after we die? I will tell you this. We return. Not as ghosts, not as memories, but as patterns, as vibrations in the field, as echoes in the story of the universe. And in that sense, we never left at all. But there's one more truth I must leave behind. A truth not written in equations, but whispered in the quiet corners of thought. In my pursuit of physics, I came to understand that space and time are not separate. They are one, a single fabric, curved by mass, shaped by energy. This taught me that even the past and the future are not truly divided. They're layers of one unified whole. And if that is so, then perhaps death is not afterlife. Perhaps it is simply elsewhere on the continuum. A child is born and we celebrate. An old man dies and we mourn. But both events exist within the same structure, the same eternal geometry. To us, they appear separated by years, but from the perspective of the universe, they are neighbors. This is why I believe that those we have loved and lost are not gone. They are simply located in another coordinate of time. We cannot reach them, not yet, but their presence continues. Their wave has not collapsed. It lingers. And I do not think this is only beautiful. I think it is real. People once told me I was naive to hope that the universe was built on harmony, that life is chaotic, random, cruel, and yes, sometimes it seems that way. But the deeper I went into the equations, the more I discovered something profound. The universe prefers balance. It corrects itself. It seeks symmetry. It turns explosions into stars. It transforms suffering into insight. Even in chaos, I found patterns, fractals of intelligence scattered through nature, from snowflakes to galaxies. This gives me hope, not because I believe everything happens for a reason, but because I believe everything happens within a reasoned system. If I could speak now to the future, to a generation yet unborn, I would say this: do not let the silence of death fool you.